Alrighty. Good evening, everybody. It's been a long while since we've been back, but we'll like to thank everybody for tuning in at this current time for the BNR Truck Series, live to you, brought to you by Bristol. Playoff round 2, race 1. The great Coliseum here. We'll go over a little information here. So, we're in Bristol. A short track, half mile. Current track temp is 81 degrees. The weather outside is 80 degrees. 60% humidity, is partly cloudy with a 3 mile per hour wind. 100 laps, 53 miles, 80% fuel, unlimited tires, 1 quick fix, and 3 attempts at a GWC. And alongside of me tonight, since he entered the room, Will, hello.
Hello, Brian. How are you this evening?
I am doing well, thank you very much. So tonight we head to Bristol in Tennessee, so little short track action.
100 laps tonight.
Yes, sir.
I heard that the tires will be the main concern.
Oh, yeah.
Not so much a fuel. No fuel should be an issue.
Nope. From what I hear, they have enough fuel to go, but tires are going to be the factor here tonight. So I guess we'll be keeping a close eye on that ordeal. So why don't you go ahead and give a thorough rundown of the history of Bristol, if you don't mind, sir.
Bristol. Yes, a short track, half-mile oval, nestled away in the hills of northeast Tennessee on the border of, what is it, Virginia or West Virginia? I think it's Virginia, right? And, it's tucked in between a couple of mountains, and originally a asphalt track, really good bumpy asphalt, short track style bull ring banked track like it was. I believe it wasn't until 92 it was paved with concrete, repaved with concrete. It might have been before 92, but anyway, different degrees in banking throughout the years. I think now it sets at 30 degrees of banking. It's either 28 or 30 degrees of banking, I believe. And very steep banking, and steepest banking besides Dover at a short track, really, that NASCAR goes to on their circuit schedule. If I'm not mistaken, been around since 72. Most wins are the most winners club is Rusty Wallace and Darrell Waltrip. I think Darrell had 10 or 12 wins here. Rusty had 10, I think. 10 or 8. Also, the Terry Labonte, Darrell Waltrip showdowns, those couple of races back in the late 90s were exciting to watch in the fall race. people remember those in the Kurt Busch dominated era of Bristol, mainly with Roush, a couple of wins in the 2 car. But starting grid, Brian.
Yes, sir. If it wants to get up here. 1 second. Oh, if it doesn't load up, but that's right. You got Mark Berry will be starting P1, Brandon Moore P2, Joe Stipe P3, Chris Camary P4, Philip Bridgman P5, JD P6, Josh Small P7, P8 will be George Rincon, P9 will be Michael Day, Richard Johns P10, Kyle Gooden P11, and Robert Amaral P12. The overlays want to be a little silly today, but that is okay. That is not a problem.
12 competitors here this evening, 100 laps. Should go by fairly quick, 15 second lap times here at Bristol. I do believe in the Truck Series, late 15 seconds, maybe 16-second laps. Maybe the tire fall off. That'll probably look to be maybe anywhere between a second and a half to maybe 2 seconds of fall off. So you could be looking at least 18 seconds at the end of these tire runs. I do believe we could see them go, like if it does go the distance green flag 100 laps, I don't think anybody will come down and pit necessarily because they don't need the fuel. They can go the distance on fuel, but the tires, we might see some just give up the ghost and come down for the tires.
Yes, sir, Will. I agree with you. A lot of them might stay out and try to do it. I mean, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So,
what are you doing?
Who?
Like the screen is like black and white.
Where?
Never mind. Okay, technical difficulties on the screen share, I guess, on Discord. That was weird.
I wanted to give you the old retro look. How was that?
Apparently that. I was like, why? Anywho. Good qualifying position for Joe Stipe in the 13. He has really come to be a good qualifier when he does qualify. Green flag is out here, Brian, tonight here at Bristol.
Yes, sir.
So this is the first race of the final round, correct?
Yes. I forgot that they do 2 rounds here.
Well,
yes, sir.
Indeed, the penultimate round before the final 4, yes.
Yes.
Chris Camary going on the attack early here on Brandon Moore in the 47 machine. Trying to get around him. He has got around him. So now Chris Camary going to try to run down Mark Berry, but we know Mark Berry, it doesn't really matter what track it is. Once he's got enough laps on it, come to know it, come to love it. He gets out in that clean air, he will get gone in a hurry. And he's already trying that.
Oh.
As looks like Mark Berry's already pulled out to at least a second lead here at Bristol.
Yeah, Barry's got a second lead over. Oh, Chris got to second. Look at that.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, Brian,
sorry,
what you
I've been readjusting certain things here, and Oh,
You're
and
good.
Chris loses it right there. Very unfortunate for Chris, just as we were talking about him getting a little loosey-goosey there and slides out from
Very
underneath.
easy to do coming out of the corners as well, Brian.
Yes, sir. So a lot of them said tires
And
were
he's going to be down off the racing surface, so that's not a caution either.
correct. iRacing real life, NASCAR real life probably would have said yes. Throw it.
Yes. If I was a race director, I definitely would have said yes, just for the realism effect, you know. Come on now.
And Robert,
The immersion. Oh, same thing happening here. Now, if he would have backed up a little bit more, he probably would have got the caution drawn, but he was able to apply the brakes in time and stay within that neutral zone, I guess you could call it.
Yes, sir.
So
Philip Bridgman
already,
there, I noticed he's a little loose too, like that. Too early to be pushing hard. Tire
how did he
management.
save that? I thought for sure. I'm going to get a replay here.
Yeah, but Philip Bridgman gets passed by Richard Jones.
What a save, though, Brian. That was a terrific save. Able to lock it down and keep it from going full sideways. He just had it slideways. It wasn't full sideways. It was just sliding, and he was able to just lock it down and just really only lose what was that? Maybe 1-2 positions, but not really that much ground.
And the caution is out there. Kyle Gooden, I do believe.
So that will put Robert back on the lead lap, and everybody who has either fired off maybe a little bit slow or had a previous incident. That's nice that iRacing wants to call it for that, but not the past other 2 incidences similar to this. iRacing, you're very inconsistent.
Kyle just loses it right there while...
I think Kyle was sideways a bit longer on the actual racing surface than the other drivers. But from just the looks of it, and looking at the replay, everybody's going to come down for a fresh set of shoes here.
Yeah.
I don't understand why I'm losing frames in the screen share. Maybe the connection tonight or something, but every now and again it'll lose color, basically, is the best way to describe it. And then it comes back, and then it goes away again. It's almost like watching television through a TV that's kind of been struck by lightning is the best way to describe this. I have no other way to describe it. Some televisions, those old tube TVs, they could sometimes get struck by lightning and still work, but they would either half the screen would be rainbow colored or black and white or just a bar of color going through the middle of the screen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of what's how Discord's treating me tonight. But it's still up to date. It's still live, so that's good. And the stream's not too far behind Discord tonight either, so that's even better. And I say all this good stuff. You watch, it's going to come back to bite me sooner or later.
Normally it does. You know that. Normally it does. Yep. But you see here, Will, you got Mark Berry, Dominant Force, Brandon Moore, 1 and 2. So
maybe I wonder if I leave.
And maybe come back. Maybe it'll fix. But anyway, Mark Berry leads. Followed by Brandon Moore.
It pops up. You have what is clipping enabled?
Clipping?
You have some. you have something enabled. It's like my voice may be recorded. It pops up like
Oh, that's because
maybe you have.
streamer mode is enabled.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, maybe you have something else running that's not normally running, or I don't know.
Now Discord, they have updated their stuff to all this stuff, so
maybe it's just being wonky tonight.
yeah. The only thing I have up is Streamlabs and all that other stuff. Good evening, Mr. Dave. How are you? Brother Mark is in the front at this current time as they take the green flag, as Mark Berry gets a great jump on the 47 of Brandon Moore, followed by Joe Stipe and JD. Oh, as Phillip gets a little loose there, side by side with Chris Camary. Camary's looking to run the outside lane, trying to get by Phillip Bridgman there for that spot. Oof. As Chris is wrapping the outside, getting all those extreme runs. Phillip gets a little squirrely there. Ends up saving it, protecting it. JD gets loose there. Gonna keep it on the bottom of the track. Gonna let these boys go to the outside and fight the battles of which they occurred to do. But Chris with an early charge early on.
Yeah, Chris with a fresh set of tires, already back up inside the top 5 and battling with Joe Stipe and looking to press forward on to Brandon Moore.
Yes, he is. But he got a little loose there, coming off of 4, coming to the start-finish well. He's pushing a little bit too excessive in my eyes. Now Joe's going to come back to the quarter of that 15, try to get around him, but can't quite get there. As Phillip Bridgman looking to apply the pressure to the back of the 13 of Joe Stipe. Looking to do a crossover move there to the inside of that 13 to take P4 away from Joe, but could Joe get the run off? Joe is currently in the wall, did a little scrapage to the right side of that 13 Ford machine there.
Yeah, that's going to halt that momentum just enough to let Phillip up in front, and Phillip makes the pass, but, you know, a lot of good hard scrapping, battling going on here. Brandon Moore taking the lead away from Mark Berry. So,
I like that paint on this truck. It's not too bad. Looks pretty good.
What is that, like sour pouch or
yeah, sour patch.
Sour airheads?
Yeah. They come back here with Phillip.
Diamond in the YouTube chat saying hi. Hello.
Oh! Man! Hey, Diamond!
That's a hard hit for George Rincon there in that 29.
Yes, very hard hit
and
with the T-bone from the Josh Mobile.
Okay, yeah, Josh Small. I was going to say 28 and 29 wrapped up in this. It looks like perhaps looking at it in real time before getting a replay here, Brian, looks like Rincon just got loose. Could have just broke away from him going through the center of 1 and 2. And he had it locked down, but unfortunately, you know, whenever you're just trying to avoid a wreck or whatever, you've already committed yourself. That looks like what Josh had done. Let's see here. Yes, indeed. Oh, look at that. Yeah, the truck just snaps away from me in the front end just once. It, you know, that term I like to use from every now and again, it turned too good. It you know, he got it to bite, and it chomped away, and man,
But I tell you
Josh
what,
was already committed to that bottom lane. Bristol, pretty much sister kin to Dover, as far as using the term self-cleaning racetrack. What goes up must come down, and you know they say if you have a flat tire, it's good to be in the high lane. You're going to go to the wall more than likely, but if you get loose and start spinning, then you're just going to sweep down the track to the unsuspecting victims down below. And Josh, one of those championship, hopefuls, didn't want to see that. Rincon, oh, my apologies, he's just like Brandon Moore. Rincon, I guess, didn't show up to enough truck races this season to not be eligible, but nevertheless, Rincon out here, was going to be battling for a top 5 or maybe even a win, but not the case after that, perhaps. They do have a fast repair, so maybe Rincon might try to get back out after using that. Man, if you would have told me that we were going to have 2 cautions before lap 50 with the field we have here this evening, as far as, the gentlemen that are in the field, I would have been like, man, okay, well, it's Bristol, maybe, but I would have almost also expected maybe go at least 50 laps or so. I thought, it might be a bit. You never can tell going into a Bristol race, because the Bristol can be a challenge and quite demanding to drive. Going back green here, Richard Johns, the control truck, trying to, I believe, kill a mosquito at the same time.
Yeah.
So he gets a good hole shot on the field in front of Brandon. I guess everybody except for Richard chose to come back down pit lane and take another set of tires. Richard probably thought better of it as far as not running enough laps on that set of tire to even do anything. Excuse me. So, unfortunately, thank you. There we go, back to color. Oh, never mind, I spoke too soon. So,
yeah, I don't know
I'll
why
tell
he's
you.
doing that.
Oh, there's a truck sideways, I thought.
Yeah,
Just
that was JD. I guess he lost her. I didn't get to it in time, unfortunately, but I heard
he was doing so good until just then.
Now Richard's got Brandon Moore to the inside, but Richard's going to keep the outside lane. Will gonna make Brandon work the bottom lane as he's going to pull the defensive line. Going to help Chris Camary try to get by Brandon Moore, but Richard is going to use the lanes that he thinks is better for him. As you see there, Chris Camary takes. Oh!
Chris Camary gets loose coming out of turn 4. And this is going to collect a couple of trucks. Philip Bridgman, Mark Berry. Looks like another caution is out here this evening.
That's that wicked side draft, Will, going into the turns with Camary and Watts. Once again, same thing like happened to Rincon. Outside lane, not enough grip. And you're just a victim of circumstance there. Not the victim of changes, but the victim of circumstance there in that situation.
Definitely have to agree with you with not enough grip on that outside lane because, it's only 100 laps. It's kind of a short dash in a sense. So how long would it take to build the rubber up there, because not enough drivers have been, really venturing up there so far when we have been green flag running. And it still looks pretty lighter compared to the bottom of the track, at least. It just that outside lane just seems to be very tricky, very, very tricky at this moment in time. Philip Bridgman on board here. This is what he had to see, and just nowhere to go. That on board the quick dry number 2, just then we're gonna go on board with Mark Berry in the 9 Exalta machine. He's going to see these 3 guys racing extremely rough in front of him and just you can see it right there, the center of the corner. The 15 just breaks loose, just very much similar like what we saw previously with the Rincon machine, and also earlier in the race when drivers, Emerald, and even earlier whenever Kamari, like that's not even in the center. Like he's kind of he was already breaking loose corner entry, and finally the truck just decided, hey, enough is enough. I'm just gonna go around completely. I give up. I give, uncle, and just nowhere for these fellow competitors to go as when you have only so much racing surface and so little room.
Oh yeah.
Good slow mo there. If we could win awards, man, we might be able to win something. But
I forgot I had that.
Yeah, man.
I forgot I had that option. So as soon as you say like, look at him get loose in the middle of the turn, that's what it was. I'm like, oh wait, maybe I can go back and slow it down a little bit there. But Brandon Moore is back to the front with Michael J.
Yes, indeed.
And Chris back up there.
Richard pitted. I'm going to assume Richard, Joe, Philip, Mark still in the pits, probably fast repair or repairing any damage that could be there. JD 5 laps down. I don't think he's quit, or else it might say out, but that caution just never flew for JD, so
yes,
go ahead.
Yes, Dave, I agree with you. Run a much higher front brake will straighten that truck up. Yeah, a lot of the guys, don't like much more of a tighter truck. They like the rear to slip a little bit to get control of it. But anyway, Brandon Moore is coming back to take the green flag here. Just like that, green flag is back out. 3 more laps and they will be halfway.
Yeah, I have to agree with what you said about Dave's comment there. Just some drivers just don't like a tighter race car or truck. They really want it to be more freer than it should be, and there is a limit. Oh, we got more contact. Not sure at the point in time who it was.
It looked like a three wide ordeal here. Oh, not yet.
Oh, that was Richard.
Yeah, Richard and Robert. Not too much damage by the 51 machine, so
I don't think Robert knew that Richard was down there, or else I don't think he would have went down there to make that move on Michael Day in the 20 machine.
Short track racing, sir. This is what you get. I hate saying it, but
yes, I mean, full sentiment. Agree with you. I mean, this is short track racing. It's kind of what you're going to get. Closed environment. At Bristol, in a way, like fighter jets in a gymnasium. Dick Trickle, I believe, coined that phrase when he raced here. He was one of the greatest short track racers across the country, and even racing at Bristol, he even said, "Hey, it'll make you dizzy. It'll make you disoriented. Even running a few laps at actual speed." So.
Yes, sir. Let's see if I can talk with Chris real quick. Chris, it's Brian and Will. You got a copy?
What's up?
How's it going, sir?
Not bad. How you guys doing?
We are doing all right. It looks like that 15 Toyota is on rails tonight, Chris.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that 15 Studios Toyota.
Well, it's up on the high line. It's running real nice, but I just can't seem to keep the back end under it. I've lost it a couple times, and Yeah, if I can keep the back from going out, it is handling great. I'm shocked that I'm keeping up with more up here. I'm thinking maybe he's sandbagging because I don't believe I'm that fast. But it's feeling pretty good.
Yes, sir. Well, you got anything for old Chris?
Maybe the next caution or two, you think you're going to pit for maybe the last set of tires for the night, Chris? Yeah, if
No
we keep
way.
having cautions like this. So you've made your bed for the night, you're saying?
No, I mean, if we keep getting cautions, every 15, 20 laps or whatever, there's no reason not to take tires. There's so many people in the field, everyone's going to pit. And,
Right. Okay. Well, best of luck to you, Chris. Hopefully you can get that truck. Keep pointing in the right direction. So.
All right. Thanks, guys.
No problem. There you go. You heard it. He thinks he's got the truck to maintain Mr. B. Moore. I guess we'll find out here in the upcoming laps if that truck does not get loose on him coming to the restart and maintaining the outside lane, Will. If they can keep it a little bit longer than 5 to 10 laps, we'll do our little breakaway. But you see here, Brandon Moore takes the green flag again as he goes into turns 1 and 2. Chris making that charge to the outside, Will.
Yeah, he's still trying to make a charge to the outside, but Brandon, getting the jump that he did on that restart, really making some good headway, like you mentioned earlier, on that outside lane. Now might be the time, even though I still don't think we've run enough green flag laps, to keep trying. Oh, my goodness, close call there between Joe and Phil.
Oh yeah, that's a little crack of the throttle by Phil. Didn't want to put himself in danger with Joe as Phil gets loose.
Another save.
Another
Chalk
save
that
by
one down.
Kyle trying to get off the track the best he can.
Okay, we stay green, I do believe.
Yeah.
A lot of happening there in just the amount of a lap and a half or so.
Oh yeah, a lot of action going on, Will. There's too much for it to keep up here. As you see there, Rincon gets loose off of there. Joe goes underneath. Takes that spot away from Rincon.
Joe, in a sense, kind of able to just kind of help him be straightened out. Oh, Kyle Pitt, you got left front toes knocked out. I don't know how he's still driving that truck. And that was a great save on Rincon. Rincon, like you talked about, Joe was able to swoop by, take that position away. Rincon, tremendous save on Rincon. That could have been an easy wall bang by Rincon, but he was able to keep it off of Joe and out of the wall. So if Kyle hasn't already pitted, take a look at Kyle's left front, Brian.
Yes, sir, we can go ahead and do that.
Go and find Kyle. Take a look at this left front. Take a look at his left front.
That's the only thing he's got. Fifth caution of the night, Will. Just as we say that, Philip Bridgman.
Zoom in or something on his left front before we see a replay. Before he gets that truck fixed, you got to look at that truck. It is. I don't know how it's still driving.
How do I? Maybe I can.
He's got to see it. It looks horrid.
I can get a better view.
Yeah, do like a far chase or something and just turn the camera around like swivel. It's like dug in the ground. It's like just dangling there. It's like.
Oh yeah. He's that he is.
So back to what?
And I was gonna say, so pit stop's underway.
Yes. at this point, you almost got to think this might be the final pit stop. You know, this could be the final time that we see people take tires, even though there still is about 46 laps left of this race. We might get the green flag at about 43 to go, something to that effect.
Yeah, let me see if we can talk to. Oh, Joe. Joe. Mr. Stipe, you got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
How is it going, sir?
It's a little sketchy.
Well, I see that. You're making some nice moves out there. You kind of actually, you saved Rincon from going around, that's for sure. Tell me and Will how the overall truck is feeling, and what's going to be your plan from here on out, because I think you guys ain't got too many laps left.
Well, truck is, if you keep the throttle on, you can keep good control of it, but it's eggshell going through the corners. Overall, right now, I just want to get a lap lead. But if this thing happens to go green, I think I got a good shot for a podium finish at least. I've got pretty decent speed, and we'll just have to see where it goes from here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I do have to agree with you, Joe, on the good speed. You seem to be firing off really well on each one of these restarts, and like Brian said, you do seem to be making good passes here and there when you need to. So I hope you're there at the end, Joe.
Well, I'm going to give it all I got, but we're coming to one to go, so let's get this going.
Yes, sir.
Yep, best of luck to you, Joe.
Thank you.
So that is Joe. So Joe is going to lead the field back to green, Will. Problem is, does he have enough to hold off Brandon Moore? We know how Brandon Moore can be. But he also has Chris Camary behind him too, so...
As long as he doesn't spin his tires on this restart, he's been, like I said, he's been firing off really well on the previous restarts, even the initial start of the race. And, you know, he is the control truck, so... And he's away. And he gets a pretty good, I would say that's pretty good hole shot, but he's on, what would you say, about 15 different old tires than everybody else. Oh, Chris Camary with a big bobble walking it up the track. And that's going to give some separation to the front too. Joe and Brandon about a half a second separation to the rest of the field there for just a moment. I bet you Mark Berry would be glad to just get away from everybody else, but he's kind of been mired back in traffic since getting caught up in one of those plunders.
Oh, yeah. Let the more caution to come out, Will. It's helping JD get his laps back.
Yes,
what
indeed.
He wants, so in his eyes, he wants to see three more cautions at least, and then he can come back to the lead lap and battle it out with this group here. So right now,
yeah, when
Joe's
he spun down off the track, oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, right now Joe's hanging on snugly to that P1 at the moment. Before he starts to slip away, it ain't much longer. Just like that, Brandon Moore to the front, Joe to the outside. Anyway, Will, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. What was I going to say? Chris Camary now attacking Joe, it looks like. Trying to find a way by. But Joe's really holding it strong here. It seems like short tracks really seem to be a good strong suit for Joe. Another big moment for Chris Camary, as this is absolutely a carnage parking lot here. Just everybody getting wrapped up in this one, Brian.
Yes. Yes, it was. A lot of playoff drivers got involved in this one, Will. We'll go back and see what had happened. It looked like a bit of a bobble effect from that 15, Will. Welcome to Bristol. We give you the action and you see it all. So
he had a big moment exiting the corner It's like that transition from the corner exit to straightaway, just where, that hump, and just the front end of the truck just took it wrong and bounced, just ricocheted out of the wall. Unfortunate, nowhere to go by pretty much everybody, and man, JD was working hard on getting those 5 laps back, Brian, and this is what he sees. I don't think he'll get.
No, he won't.
I don't
he
think
made contact there. He won't get it.
Yeah.
Very unfortunate, that's for sure. 22 laps to go, Will. I think Brandon and Joe are going to stay out. The rest of these boys are going to come around here. They're going to get fixed up here. So, Brandon Moore, Joe Stipe, Kyle Gooden moves up to P3. Nope.
Kind of surprised that Joe didn't go in and take a set of tires.
I would have, especially if you're going to try to at least keep Brandon to the back, or at least get that extra fresh set there, a lot more than Brandon. So, Bristol's tough, so.
It's a fun track when you can get it right, but when you get it wrong, it is torture on the soul, and
yes, it is.
And it's just utter torment. Even when you're having a good day and you get collected and caught up in something of your undoing, or none of your own doing, there we go. It can be very disheartening, Looks like we might get the restart with about 18 to go here, Brian.
Yeah, the 18 laps to go. No, it'll be 19 to go. So Brandon Moore, Joe Stipe, Josh Small, Barry, take the restart here. Right on board with Josh.
Josh was caught sleeping.
Oh yeah. As Mark Berry trying to get a run to the outside.
Yeah, the 2 cause caution rule is that still a thing, or?
Yeah. Supposed to be, these drivers know it. I think that's why Chris is going down. Michael Day. Now we're on with Josh Small.
Like, as much as we want to see everybody out here, competing and racing, Brian, rules are, unfortunately, the rules are fortunately, or however you'd like to word that statement or sentiment. So, you got to stand by those. If not, what would you, So,
yeah, Chris was very fast. Unfortunately, circumstances of there. Josh Small now working on those starts of V3. Will, does Josh have what it takes to get to the quarter of that 13? But Richard
I really
is
think
ever so slightly closing in on that gap too. So.
I really think Joe has to make a mistake for Josh to get by him here. Joe's really not really put a foot wrong tonight, I don't think. Josh can keep getting these runs off the corner, but if Joe keeps putting his truck where he needs to, he can't really get by. I feel Joe's better out of 4 than he is out of 2. Josh is able to diamond the corner in 1 and 2. He tries it in 3 and 4, but just can't. That time he had a good 3 and 4, but the past times, he's been coming off a bit more sideways, and he had one good lap out of a 3 and 4, and then that 1 and 2 was bad for him. So. But yeah, like you say, Richard John's moving into this fray. As Joe, yeah, but he was still able to just graze it and not lose enough, time to Josh there. Closing laps here, about, what is that, 5 laps to go?
Yes, sir.
Which one, 5?
6.
Okay.
Now
so
it's 5.
5 laps to go. Great battle here between Joe and Josh. Closing in is Richard. Richard's there now, on board with Joe. As he's really holding it there in the middle of the track, having a good line. Josh trying everything he can at the bottom lane of the track. He's there. Yes, Dave, I'd have to agree with you. Great recovery drive by Josh after getting broadsided WinCon there.
Richard is trying everything in his mighty to find a way around both of these. One slower than the other, one's like that.
Lap traffic helping this battle with Joe. It helped out Joe a lot. Phillip trying to stay out of the way. He's still on the track. He's got to have room too. So everybody did a good job. I mean, not what sideways. I believe that is now is that the final lap?
Yes.
Yeah, Brandon Moore, man, won it by a half a second. We were so caught up with the Joe Stipe and Richard Johns, I believe, got past Josh Small there at the end. So sneaks by to get 4th. But yeah, we were so up enwrapped in the battle for the final podium position. We forgot to check back in with the race leader and eventual winner with Brandon Moore, but not to worry. He won the race by, like I said, a half a second over Mark Berry. Both of them, I would have to say, class of the field. A little bit with Chris Camary, but Chris Camary just fighting a bit of looseness, I would have to say. Just how these tricky conditions here tonight. But
he won at his home track, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, Brandon Moore, yes, like you said, Tennessee native, and he is just tearing that thing up now. But
oh yeah, he tore it up all right. Well, we'll go ahead and speak with P3 here. Mr. Joe.
Yes, sir.
Well, you did it. You were able to get that podium finish like you said you were going to just after we talked to you. Tell us about how you were able to get this podium finish, Joe. You had a intense closing lap battle with Josh, and Richard came into the battle. Tell us about it, Joe.
Well, I think I made a mistake not pitting on the last cycle. should have gotten some fresh tires. I was actually debating it, and I went ahead and took track position over tires. And I think it was kind of hurting me there towards the end of the run, just because with Josh and Richard closing in on me, I started not being able to hold the bottom, but I found I could get a better run off and battle with Josh on the high side. And then when lap traffic came into play and kind of slowed Josh down, I took advantage of that to get back to the bottom and was able to hold off Richard. He's not too happy about me going back down to the bottom. He figured I'd stay at the top, but the thing of it is once Josh got underneath, I just didn't have an option. And then once I got by Josh and I believe it was Philip, I was able to get back down to the bottom and hold it down there for at least a couple laps. And it was just long enough to keep Richard behind me.
Yeah, coming across the lap traffic of Philip there, that was kind of key in you kind of capturing that battle over Richard and Josh there. So lap traffic giveth and lap traffic taketh away at times in the world of motorsport. There, Joe, got any else you'd like to add about tonight? Maybe some shout outs, anything else you'd like to add, Joe?
Shout out to Brandon. He's mad fast online, and him and Mark both. They were, of course, class of the field and the ones that you wanted to beat. But those two, as soon as they got any kind of clear air in front of them, they just checked out. For the most part, everybody around me was racing pretty clean. As far as, we had some spinning coming off, people getting in the gas too much, coming out off the corners, but for the most part, there wasn't any dirty racing or anything like that. So, big shout out to the whole field. Shout out to you guys for the broadcast. Hope we put on a show. Even with all the cautions, I'm pretty sure there was some entertainment value there.
There was, Joe. Congratulations again on the P3, and hopefully carry this momentum further in, continuation of the playoffs and into next week as well, Joe.
Yeah, this gives me a good bump in points. I needed it, and that's gonna that helps take pressure off of me for Talladega and Homestead. So as long as I do have a good finish at those tracks, I think I might be in the Final Four, and that just means I have to practice Phoenix.
Well, yes, practice makes perfect, they say, Joe. So, if you keep running like this, I do have to agree with you.
Well, I appreciate you all.
No problem.
And I'll let you get to the other two.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.
You too.
Well, that was P3. Now we head on to the P2 finisher of the night, Mr. Mark Berry. Mr. Mark, you got a copy?
Yeah, that's Mark.
How's it going, sir?
It's going good.
A lot of up and downs, a lot of carnage had happened to that 9-mobile here. Walk us through the last couple of laps, what was going through your head. Like, me and Will didn't know if you had an extra quick fix out there or if you used it the first time when you got involved with a little scrapage early on, but what was going through your head majority of the race, and what was your main focus here tonight at the half-a-mile track here at the last great Coliseum of Bristol?
But yeah, about the last caution with 20 laps to go, I ended up getting a quick fix, and so I saved it towards the end. But it was just trying to get out behind second, and then try to run the Brandon down. And I was just run out of laps. I went to the high side and I started to run him down, but it's just too late.
Yes, sir, indeed. I would say overall great truck, but every week for you. You always do a kick-ass job, I must say. So next week you'll head to Talladega. What's going to be your mindset and strategy going into that super speedway track?
Just ride around in the back and just kind of let you know, people get a little aggressive sometimes. So sometimes it's best just ride in the back.
Yes, sir. Are you going to do a lot of side drafting there, do you think, to try to break up that momentum of certain drivers that you know who have the dominant two-car tandem going, or are you just going to let them just go and you're going to do your best to protect your stuff and then make that hard charge push at the end?
Well, I just think I'm just going to wait until the end and just try to make my charge then, and also kind of just throughout the race, kind of pick to see who I want to follow or or have somebody work with.
Yes, sir, indeed. Well, congratulations on the P2. Will you have anything else for old Mark here?
Well, just congratulations, Mark. Like Brian said, on the P2 finish, you look like you could have had something for Brandon. Maybe if we didn't have all these cautions, or maybe if we would have had maybe a few more laps, or maybes. Maybe if you didn't get caught up in a wreck, maybes. But yeah, Mark, Talladega always seems to be a exciting race for at least the finishes at least at times, and always at least can put on an exciting race to watch. Hopefully, so yeah, just best of luck going forward in the playoffs, Mark.
All right, thank you. It should be a pretty exciting race next week, and looking forward to you guys.
Yes, sir. Any shout outs or loves you want to give before we let you go?
Just shout out to everybody that's watching. Appreciate it, and thanks for you guys for broadcasting it.
Yes, sir. Thank you for coming out, being a driver of the BNR Truck Series. We appreciate you, your team, your brother a lot. So keep up the good work and keep your head high going into Talladega.
All right, thank you guys.
No problem. Last but not least, Will, Brandon Moore. I can pull him in here. Mr. Hometown Track native himself, Mr. Brandon Moore. How is it going, sir?
That's you.
I am doing quite well, thank you. Will, I'll let you take over.
Well, Brandon, you won tonight. You didn't step on nothing. It was I kind of want to say a bit of a hard fought victory because you had Chris Camary at times up there challenging whenever he wasn't having his own troubles. You had Mark Berry up there like normal almost every week on you challenging as like I said normal. But you also wasn't them that you had to contend with. You had the cautions to contend with. Just what was the overall mindset of you throughout the race, Brandon, and just what were you struggling with, if anything?
I mean, there really wasn't a whole lot of struggle bus going on. There's a lot of caution. So I mean, the main focus was trying to have the freshest tires that you can late in the run. That way, you don't have to make that late pit stop, for you can control the restart. For a second there, I thought I had too old of tires to hold Mark off for the win, but we managed to keep it up front. I knew, once it got down to 25, 30 to go, I wasn't pitting again. I was going to be controlling the restart and getting a jump, and trying to set sail was the goal, and that's how it ended up.
Excuse me. I know it might be virtual, but tell us about how awesome and important it feels to win. At Bristol, basically. Like hometown race for you. It's pretty much. Just explain it, Brandon.
Oh yeah, I mean, even in the virtual world, I mean, to get a win at Bristol, being the home track, I mean, it meant a lot. I really wanted to win this one. You've got a place like Bristol as your home track. You feel like you have to run good there.
Yes, indeed. I kind of know how that feels. Being kind of close to Talladega, and always wanting to run good there as well. So not really being a playoff driver this season in the trucks, unfortunately, but you still showing up each and every week. You're just virtual trophy hunting. You're just wanting to show up, compete, and mainly just have fun, Brandon, and really explain what type of mindset you as a driver not being in the playoffs kind of have coming into these races.
I mean, the whole goal is to come out here, be competitive, have fun, fight for wins. Obviously, don't want to be the guy who runs another guy's championships, hopes, and dreams. We try to, keep the fenders out of other drivers, and I think we do a pretty good job of that. But yeah, main thing's coming out here, running good, running consistent, and picking up as many trophies along the way that we can.
Next week is Talladega, I do believe. What's kind of the mindset for Talladega? Just kind of ride around, wait till the final 10, maybe 5 laps of the race, then go for it?
Yeah, that's pretty much my mindset usually at those kinds of races. But the main thing is don't get yourself too far back to where you lose the main pack and then you're playing catch up the whole race, because that could happen really quick. All it takes is one good bobble from the truck in front of you, and then you're 4 or 5 seconds off the main pack, and then you're praying for a caution. But not being a playoff driver, you can go out there and be a little bit more aggressive than if you was on the bubble, trying to get to the final 4. So we'll go out there, throw it 3 wide if we need to, and try to bring home a Talladega win.
Any final thoughts, shout-outs, anything else you'd like to add about tonight, Brandon, before we let you go celebrate?
I just want to thank all the competitors who come out to put on the race. Thank the broadcast booth. Thank all the people at home, and just thankful to get a Bristol win, and maybe we can make it 2 in a row with Dega next week. We'll see what we can do.
Well, best of luck going forward, Brandon. I know you're not in the playoffs, but best of luck going forward with the trophy hunting success. And thanks for talking to us, and congratulations yet again on the win tonight at Bristol.
I appreciate it. Thank y'all.
Yes, sir. You go crack open a few brewskis there at the Great Coliseum there and burn it down. Try not to put more.
He destroyed his truck victory.
Oh, yeah. I tried to drift it through 3 and 4, and it bit back.
Yeah.
I held the drift for most of the corners, and then it just kind of snapped back the other way, and I'm like, oh, boy. At least we don't have to worry about passing tech after the race. They're not going to find that extra NOS bottle in that right front quarter.
All right, buddy. You go hammer down a few brewskis and enjoy this win, and looking forward to see Talladega.
All right, sounds good. Thank y'all.
Yep. Anyway, well, that will do it here from the Great Coliseum here at Bristol. I would say overall great action-packed race, especially for that 3rd position. A lot of ups, a lot of downs for some. A few penalties that were there in the pits I saw due to the comments, but my thoughts and opinions of the race, very good for the most part. Some iffy things, don't push certain situations a little early, especially if there's no grip out there, but I would say overall, pretty solid race. Looking forward to Talladega, and I'll get your thoughts and opinions on tonight's race.
Yes, I'd have to agree with you there. Tonight's race was pretty good, I'd have to say, overall. It could have been better, but it is Bristol. It is going to be slick out there. It is a short track. Contact is going to happen at some point or another, especially with more than 8 people. So, especially when you have ones that are trying to be fast and quick, and unfortunately, just there were no grips at the time when they were trying to venture up there. But you got to venture up there to put the grip down, in order to hopefully be there further on in the race. But I would say maybe 1 or 2 too many cautions overall, but hindsight is 2020. Either way, it was still a good race. They did put on a show towards the end. We got so wrapped up with the final podium position, we forgot about Brandon Moore winning the race. Yes, it was a pretty good race overall. Next week, Talladega. Hopefully, we could get some numbers for Talladega at least, and it can be a great show next week. So, until then, Brian, who knows what's to come?
Yes, sir. We'll play that ear by ear once again, like we did tonight for Bristol. But for myself, Brian Hunt, and Will Roberts here, we thank you, each and every one of you guys, coming out, tuning into the stream, chit-chatting with us through it all, and coming out cheering on your favorite drivers and cheering on me and Will. We appreciate that very much, too, as well. We've been a little out of commission here the past couple of weeks, so that's that. We do have a new series coming into the works here for Thursdays. It's our 87 side of things. Me and Will be back in the booth for that on Thursday. Not sure when, not sure what time. We'll keep everybody posted on the channels, Discords too as well. So myself and Will, we thank you guys ever so dearly so much for coming out, supporting us, supporting your drivers, tuning in, giving you guys something to watch on your Tuesday nights when you're relaxing after a very long day of work and then you just want to unwind, coming out and cheering us on. So we thank you very much. We're looking forward to see you guys next Tuesday when they head to Talladega. You can catch Will back in action for the BNR Cup Series final race of the season at New Hampshire with himself and Chris Camary on the 1-5 Studios broadcast on YouTube. But we thank you. Be safe. God bless. Have a great night. Well, you guys.